Hey guys, Chelsea Dillon from Project Lift here, and today we're going to be talking about how to think about Olympic weightlifting technique. Now, these three areas that we're going to be getting into today is the goal of all technique, you don't know what you don't know, and continual improvement. Now, before we turn it over to Drew, make sure that you guys give that video a like, hit subscribe, and most importantly, share it with someone else that you know that this video will connect with.
All right, guys, first off, it's the goal of all technique. And I'm gonna define the goal of all technique is to make the athlete effective while making the athlete as efficient as possible. And to demonstrate this, I wanna discuss the difference between, say, a push jerk and a split jerk, okay? Now, a push jerk is much more efficient in the sense that there's less movement going on than a split jerk. However, if an athlete doesn't possess the required core strength, the required stability and strength to be able to perform push jerks well, then the split jerk is going to be more effective in allowing the athlete to be successful with heavy weight. Our goal is to lift the most weight with the Olympic lifts. So we want to be effective in the sense of lifting heavy weight while being as efficient as possible using the least amount of energy. So when we're going into technique work, when we're looking at technique, that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to mimic the Russians, mimic the Chinese, mimic anybody else. We're trying to tune in our movement patterns specifically for our bodies individually. And there are a lot of stuff, there are a lot of cues, a lot of elements of technique that are broad and fit many of us. And then once we have those basics down, then we can go in and start to do individual specifics for individual athletes, okay? Now, as you go through this, that's the key. So when you're working with the coach, when you're working with yourself, those are the conversations to have. It's always, how can I be the most effective while also optimizing how can I be efficient? How can I use less energy, which is going to help you lift much bigger weight and last much longer and better in a competition? All right, guys, so the second one is we don't know what you don't know, right? And what that means, guys, is so often athletes will come into Project Lift and I'll say, hey, what's going on? What's your biggest challenge? Where are your struggles at? And so often I hear, well, my technique's good. I feel really good about my technique. I'm just having trouble getting underneath heavier barbells. Well, guys, very often having trouble getting underneath heavier barbells, typically there's something going on with technique. And so often we go into the gym, we start moving, and that's exactly what we see. Some technical opportunities that are quick, easy to fix, and next thing you know, they're feeling better. And when we come out of that, there's this moment of like, wow, I didn't know. And that's the thing, guys, you don't know what you don't know. So often I would teach clinics and I would do monthly clinics around the state. I'd have athletes attend these clinics month in and month out, right? They were just continuously attending. And they were the same clinics. I wasn't changing anything. And about 2-3 months into it, I'd have athletes come up to me who'd been there 2-3 months and they're like, man, you said X, Y, and Z, and just I wish you'd have said that last month. Well, the thing was, guys, I had this so scripted in my head. I had such a process that I followed. I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, I had said that the month before and the month before that and the month before that. But we're ready to hear cues when we're ready to hear them. I want you to imagine when you read a book and then you read the book again, same book a little later, and all of a sudden there's these passages in the book that are just like, oh man, they just stick out to you differently. You're different when you're reading that book, right? Just like when you're attending a clinic and you've put in 2 months of training, you're different now than you were the very first month you attended. So as you expand, so is your ability to take on new cues, to take on new learning. And that's what makes weightlifting so fun is, yes, it's the same two movements, snatch and clean and jerk. However, as you go through it, these movements continue to evolve and you continue to evolve. So guys, you don't know what you don't know. When you're working with the coach, when you're studying on your own, keep digging, be open to this. And guys, this is what we do. If you need support with this, hop on a discovery call. We can discuss where you've been, where you're going, and what opportunities there are for you. And finally, guys, the third one is continual improvement. And why I wanted to add this in, it's similar to what I said in We Don't Know What We Don't Know, but slightly different, is one, we need to continue having these conversations, continue to explore what we don't know. But there's often a couple things that I see come up at this suggestion, right? There can be some tension. And one, some coaches aren't comfortable talking about technique, and that says a lot more about them than it does you. And two, if you're feeling tightness around the thought of going up and having a conversation in depth around technique and how you view it and how someone else views it, remember guys, true conversations, true learning conversations have a layer of vulnerability in them, because those conversations have the opportunity to create change in you. And if we see change as a vulnerability, then we can avoid those conversations. We can tighten up on those conversations. Two coaches can say a similar cue in two different ways. And if one resonates with you and it clicks, that's what we're looking for, guys. That's what we look at Project Lift. We have multiple coaches understanding the technique model that we use, telling athletes cues in different ways. And if one clicks for them and it starts to work, thank goodness. So guys, there's a lot of value in hearing similar things in different ways and seeing something very similar to the same movement, snatch and clean and jerk, in different lights through others' eyes, and that's how you continue to improve.
So guys, looking at everything that we covered today, we'd love to hear from you. Which one resonated for you? Or maybe all of them. Drop it in the comments section. We'd love to hear what connected for you about how to think about your Olympic lifting technique. And like Drew mentioned too, reach out, schedule a discovery call if you'd like to go deeper into this for you, understanding where you've been and setting up goals for where you're going and getting a conversation started with a coach. Hit that discovery call link, guys, and we will talk to you next time.